See, the best, the masters of their game in sport and business, doesn't matter. They master the basics.
Johnny is a former Olympian, former NFL football player, former college athlete, somebody that has the privilege to speak to organizations across the country and share his background and his beliefs. And, you know, here at Titus, we believe in impacting our clients from a people strategy perspective. And so we wanted to focus a little bit here on, you know, the striving for peak performance, striving for the right types of things to focus on in terms of motivation when it comes to, you know, coming out of the pandemic, the COVID situation. So, Johnny, let's start there. What is it, you know, what would you recommend right now are some of the key things that businesses and business leaders should be focusing on from a team / peak performance element?
Yeah, Ben, this is great. Great question. It's such a timely question with everything that we're dealing with. And one of the first things I learned when I got to the NFL and then even to the Olympics is when we're looking at a team nucleus, men and women coming together for one common goal. It starts with protecting your mindset. And so, Ben, as rudimentary as this may sound, we want to start in this area of high stress that we are all in as we navigate through this pandemic with protecting what are we watching, what are we reading, who are we listening to. And so in a management position where you've got upper management, lower management, you've got, you know, people who have been thrown into a work from home environment, are we checking in with them regularly? And are we, you know, are we influencing what they're consuming from a content standpoint? And so one of the things I really kind of plant my flag on is the ability to borrow wisdom. Ultra performers, men and women in sport and business, it does not matter. Ben, they are constantly borrowing wisdom. They're looking down the road, but then they're also looking back and seeing who can I bring with me. And you can always learn from a leader on what are they reading, what are they watching, who are they listening to. So I think our first step here in strengthening the nucleus of a team is we've got to protect what are we consuming, because this is what the output you're going to get. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%, right? You know, what you read and take into your body is creating thought patterns for what you're going to output. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a great line of wisdom and something that sometimes people aren't focusing on, right? When things get stressful and kind of get going in different directions in their mindset. And so I think that's really good. You know, for companies that are doing, you know, that are trying to work hand in hand with their employees to help maximize peak performance, use the word worry and anxiety.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What are the negative impacts? What are the things that hiring managers, business leaders need to be thinking about as they think from a people perspective right now?
Yeah. So let's think about when you're driving a car, right? The biggest view, the best view is right through that windshield that you're looking through. And that's what we need to keep our eyes on, is looking straight. What we find, though, is that when stress, worry, and anxiety are at a high, which they are right now, that's an honest gathering of information, is that a lot of people are looking out the side view mirror, or they're looking in the rear view mirror behind them. They're not keeping their focus on the road in front of them. And it's so easy to look to the side and see what everybody else is doing and start, you know, going through these mental gymnastics on, you know, do we have the right processes in place, you know, from a hiring standpoint, from how I'm leading my team right now in a work from home environment. And so there's two areas that we want to look at. And I get this from the lean culture, if you're familiar with that, or any of the Six Sigma culture. And it comes down to two things. It comes down to continuous improvement and elimination and waste. And these things need to be going and working together. Do we have processes in place right now for continuous improvement and an elimination of waste. Because if you can answer yes to both of those questions, Ben, what happens is that value that you're creating by constantly looking for improvements and the elimination of waste transfers to your client. Or if you're a hiring manager, transfers to your end goal, which is hiring peak performers, which is hiring ultra performers is what I like to call them. And so let me give you an example. I am a keynote speaker. And when the CDC came in and they said, hey, no gatherings over 10, for me, that's a big problem, right? So instead of looking out my side view mirror and, what are other speakers doing? No, what I realized is I'm going to pivot and not panic. And so I'm going to pivot to virtual presentations. I'm going to pivot to virtual webinars so I can still deliver the necessary content just in a different format. And so since then, I've done multiple webinars, and I finished, a couple last week with some big name clients. And so, see, I'm finding these opportunities that I can transfer in my line of work. And so I'll give you a clarifying question that our listeners can kind of chew on here is, where are the unexpected opportunities to serve your clients right now, or to serve your team members, or to serve your community, to serve your family, in your season of life? Where are they? Here's the secret. Ultra performers, men and women, sport and business, they are searching to find these unexpected opportunities to serve their clients. That's how you win. And that's how you win when things get tough.
When people are coming together, they're all different, right? I'm a practitioner of behavioral analytics. Everyone has a different wiring to how they operate. What are some things that you try to do when you're doing team building or team awareness that you think you hang your hat on, knowing that everyone's different? How can you better bring people together quicker?
Yeah, good question. First, we've got to identify the basics. Just like you would build a house, you set the foundation before you start building the stories. And, when you're bringing a team together, here's what we have to realize. You have people with different personalities, different backgrounds, and different belief systems. And Ben, that's okay. As a matter of fact, that's great. That's what you want in a team setting. And so we want to understand that people are different. They respond differently to action. They respond differently to how they process information. And one of the early things I did when I got to the Olympic Training Center, because Ben, I understand this. I'm a Texas guy, grew up in Texas, played football. When I started bobsledding for the United States of America, I was a little bit out of my surroundings that I'm used to being in, right? Texas guy. Now I'm in this winter sport. And so I'm in Lake Placid, New York at the Olympic Training Center. And here's what I did. I went and I observed and I watched and I took notes and I gathered information from the Olympic medalists. See, everybody at the Olympic Training Center, Ben, was a phenomenal athlete. But the Olympic medalists were better. And so I would watch, what time of the day are they training? I would see, I would observe when we go through the Olympic Training Center cafeteria, what food they were putting on their plate and what food they were passing on. I would notice what time they would call it, a night. And so I would start to study, again, the ultra performers, the men and women who are doing great things. And so in a team setting, we've got to make sure that the leaders, whether it's title or position, doesn't matter, are setting the tone, right? Because more is caught than taught. And so in this peak performance nucleus setting, we've got to make sure that you are not only leading by example, but your action and words line up. Because what I found is that when our actions and our words, Ben, when they don't line up, confusion happens.
Hey, Johnny, we appreciate your time. I really enjoyed the conversation. Look forward to staying in touch. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Ben. You too.